Yo, what's up guys, it's CJ here with another Back for Blood build. This build is the bullet hose build. I've had a lot of fun with this in the last week, where I've been messing around with it, making it and just toying with it, I suppose. I did have a couple of different cards that I changed out and changed in, so I will go over those. They're completely up to you whether or not you would want to use them or not, but that's besides the point. This build is kind of a bit of a meme build. It can be used in no hope difficulty. I have run it in no hope difficulty, especially with a little bit of damage resistance, and as we know, most of my builds I kind of run solo, so it is, I suppose, not a build for team play, and that's just purely because you chew through ammunition. Like, seriously, you chew through ammunition. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. Now, I was looking at some cards for what you could swap out for quick slots as well, to try and get some more ability to buy, for instance, ammo boxes, etc. But realistically speaking, the build is kind of good as it is, and I don't want to really drop anything to pull in the quick slot availability, shall we say. Okay, so before we get into the build, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys. Our objective by the 25th of December was 100 subscribers. We're currently at 248, which is insane. You guys are insane! I have set a new goal of 500 subscribers by February 22nd, so if you want to help me out with that goal and hit the subscribe and like buttons, please do. Let me know in the comments what builds you'd like to see. I have seen some comments asking for a legitimate LMG build, so that is something that I will be working on in the coming week. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's and, you know, welcome 2023 with a bang. Guys, let's get into the build. So if you've seen the previous builds, you'll know that we go through these in sets of 5 cards. So let's get into the first set of 5 cards. The first card being Admin Reload. The second card being Ammo Scavenger. Then 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Ammo Mule. And the last card of the first set, Tactical Vest. So your first set of 5 cards are kind of your most important, and they really make this build broken. And the reason why I say this build is broken is because of just how much death and carnage you can rain down, and you never have to reload. That's right, reloading is a thing of the past. We don't like reloading, we don't want to reload, we are lazy gamers, and we never want to hit the R button for reload ever again. Now, the reason for this is the Admin Reload card. Now, it's a really simple card, but what it is when you stow your weapon, it's going to reload automatically for you. Now, if you've ever played Apex Legends and you've got the golden attachment and you put your gun away and it reloads for you after a period of time, same thing. The Admin Reload card means that when you're firing your gun, if you switch to your sidearm, which I will, spoiler alert, is going to be another main weapon, it's going to reload for you. Now, I did try and time this, and it looks to be around 3.5 to 4 seconds that it takes to reload, so just be aware of that. If you are using an AR instead of the LMGs, because you will go through that 30 clip of ammo in the AR so quickly. That's down to one of our later cards though, so we'll go over that in a bit. The second card is pretty self-explanatory. As we know, we are going to go slamming through ammunition, so Ammo Scavenger is going to be super useful just to make sure we get that extra ammo crate in the map each time. Our third card is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. And this just means that we can have a primary weapon in our secondary slot instead of a secondary weapon. Now, as you saw in the intro, The third card is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Now this means we can apply a second primary weapon in our secondary slot, which is great because as you saw in the intro, we are going to want to run something like 2 LMGs. Now I've run this with both the M249 and RPK, so the M249 in my primary and the RPK in my secondary, and because of our later cards it does work pretty well because of the RPK's extra damage. Personally though, I just kind of want to run around with a minigun in my pocket, so I ran with 2 M249s, and because you never have to reload, you just have a continuous fire rate and it's ridiculous. So personally I would say run 2 M249s, but we'll get onto that a little bit later in the build. The fourth card is Ammo Mule. Now this will you'll lose 5% of your move speed, but you are going to gain 75% uplift in your ammo capacity, which is huge. Then the last card being Tactical Vest. Now this is going to give you a 10% damage uplift with assault rifles and LMGs, and it's going to give you a 30% rifle ammo capacity as well. Now, one thing I will say is that these cards, so the Ammo Mule and Tactical Vest, the Ammo Mule is really important because of the extra ammo it gives, but the Tactical Vest is interchangeable with any of the cards that give you specific ammunition and damage with the other weapons. So for instance, the SMG, the shotgun, etc. You can run these and you can do the same quick swap action where you don't have to reload if you prefer running shotguns or SMGs, etc. Personally, the later on cards don't really work with the shotguns and SMGs really well, but it is interchangeable with those if you do prefer those weapon types. That's it for the first 5 cards. Let's move on to the second set. Now the first card of the second set is Shredder. If you've seen my previous builds, you know what this card is. The second card is Film Full of Lead. The third card is Large Caliber Rounds. The fourth card is Confident Killer. And the fifth card is Line 'em Up. So the first card is Shredder, and this means that your target that you shoot is going to take 1% increased damage for 3 seconds. Now this stacks up to a maximum of 15%, which means that if you're firing at, say, an Ogre or Tallboy or any of the mutations for that matter, they're going to take increased damage for the period of time where you're shooting them. And because you never have to reload and you can swap weapons in less than 3 seconds, you're going to keep that 15% damage uplift continually. The next card, Film Full of Lead. Now this is a specific damage buff, fire rate buff, and swap speed buff for you in particular. Now with this in particular, it is super strong for continuous rates of fire, because the max count of buffs that you can receive from that is 20. So while shooting, you're going to gain 20% of damage, 20% fire rate, and a massive 100% swap speed, as long as you keep the stacks max. Now essentially that just means if you continually go with your rate of fire, and let's be honest, the M249 at base has 80 rounds of ammunition. If you swap to another M249 and it's quick enough, you're going to be able to maintain the 20% increase of damage across the board. You've also got to realize that you have 15% increased damage from previously too. So you're going to have 35% increased damage if you continually fire. Then we've got Large Caliber Rounds. Now Large Caliber Rounds is an interesting card to add to this build. It's mainly for the bullet penetration rather than the damage, and that's just because if a horde comes running at you and you shoot the first zombie that hits you, or that comes to you in the head or in the body, you want that bullet to pass through as many of the zombies behind it as possible as well. So it just basically leads to you being able to mow down entire hordes of enemies with no issue whatsoever. Then we've got Confident Killer. So we've already got, at maximum stacks, 35% increase of damage. I think that that's not enough. So if you're running at full stacks and a mutation dares to cross your path, then you are going to deal more damage to them based on how many mutations you have also killed. Now, for each round that you do, especially on anything above veteran difficulty, you are going to start stacking 1% damage for each mutation you kill. There's plenty of mutations for you to kill, for instance the Sleepers, the Tall Boys, the Rippers, etc, etc. The list goes on. There's tons of them, and all you need to do to get to your max is kill 15 of them as a team. So it's huge, it just adds up, and it just stays there until the end of the level, which is great. Then our last one is Line 'em Up. Now this is for the increased bullet range, the recoil control. The bullet penetration doesn't really play off all that much. It does increase a bit, but it's negligible because of the large caliber rounds. And then the aim speed, because honestly I really love this game, but nothing infuriates me more than taking 5 seconds to aim down sights when you're using any of the guns. Like, just let me aim down sights fast, please. It's a PvE game, come on man. But that completes our last card of the second set. Let's move on to the final set of cards. So, the first card from the third set is Front Sight Focus, then Breakout, then Cocky, then Motorcycle Jacket, and finally Padded Suit. Now the first card, Front Sight Focus, if you've seen this before, is going to give you 20% accuracy, which is really useful for just hip firing if you need to. 10% weak spot damage. It's going to give you 15% aim speed and 15% recoil control, because if you haven't used the M249 at max stacks of film full of lead, it kicks. And having the extra accuracy to help reduce that kick is super useful. Then we have Breakout. Breakout is really self-explanatory. If you don't know what it does, it's super useful for getting out of the sleeper grips, or any of the grips for that matter, the hag, etc. All you do, you hold E and you'll break free from any grapple from an enemy. It does go on cooldown for 60 seconds, so do bear that in mind, okay? Then we have Cocky. Now Cocky is an interesting one. It's going to give us 75% weapon swap speed. Now Cocky, I think, just adds that extra oomph to the weapon swap speed. When you are full stacks of film full of lead, you can kind of deal with not having it. But personally, I don't want my stacks to disappear because I'm swapping weapon. So I would just keep it in for the quick speedy swap. But it is something you can kind of trade out if you feel like you need more damage resistance, or maybe you want some coin cards, etc. in there. Then we've got Motorcycle Jacket, which is a really simple 5% damage resistance and 5 health. And finally, the Padded Suit, which is 10% damage resistance and 5 health again. Now, these two cards are primarily to just keep you alive a little better in the harder difficulties, because you will take a lot of damage if you do get hit. Another thing to be aware of is with Cocky, if you do take damage, your accuracy is going to be reduced for 3 seconds, so just be aware of that. And then finally, the Padded Suit, it does lower your stamina efficiency, so sprinting around is not going to be really your forte, but then again, you are carrying massive packets of ammo on you, so, you know, potato. The other thing that I would potentially swap out for Cocky is maybe the ability to have more quick slots, so that you can buy some more ammo packs. Of course, we do get one ammo pack anyway because of the people that we'll be playing with, but generically I would say quick slot inventory is the only one that I would kind of swap in and out. Again, this build I play solo offline, so again, some of these cards should be maybe traded out to be a little bit more of a team player, but I'll let you guys figure that one out for yourself. I am working on a squad support build, which will potentially help with those people saying that they are going into online lobbies and struggling and stuff like that. I personally feel like you get enough money from this, but if you want to look out for that, please do, because it's probably going to be not the next build, but the build after. The next build is going to be the legitimate LMG kind of build for Back 4 Blood. Now, in Back 4 Blood, there is only 2 LMGs. There is the M249, which is my personal favorite because of the fire rate, and the RPK. Now, I would say both of these are very viable options. The M249 has a bigger magazine capacity. As you can see, the big drum mag does kind of lead us to have a larger magazine capacity in general. However, the RPK does tend to hit a lot harder. So the RPK does pack a bit more of a punch. It does have a lower attack speed. However, when you're firing continuously, if you are running, say for instance, 2 RPKs instead of 2 M249s, then you are going to see the uplift of attack speed a lot quicker. However, the RPK does suffer from having a lower magazine capacity. Also, just one thing to note, you will not start with an M249. You can use various burn cards, etc. to acquire an LMG early on. However, the M249 is quite common, so you should find it pretty easily and pretty quickly. I personally would recommend running 2 M249s. That's just the way I've done it, but again, that's completely up to you. Now, the cleaner I recommend for this is Hoffman. Now, Hoffman is great. He has the extra team capacity for ammo, so he has a 15% increase of ammo capacity. He has 1 extra offensive inventory for those grenades that you want to carry around, and he also has a chance for ammo to drop, or maybe a grenade, etc. whenever he kills a Ridden. And because you're going to be mowing down hordes of Ridden, he is probably the best choice. You can use other cleaners as well. For instance, Walker is definitely another one that you could use for the extra team health and extra damage. The only thing you need to worry about when using any other kind of cleaner is the lack of the extra uplift in ammo, and the fact that they will have to find the ammo rather than have it at spawner at a random chance. Generically, and quite funnily, another cleaner that you could run this with is Heng. Now, the reason why I say that is because Heng actually starts with an RPK. So you can just start with the RPK LMG straight off the bat. If you are playing online and you're playing with friends, you can get one of them to run Heng and just swap your weapons right at the start. If you are running a different cleaner, no issues, as long as your friend doesn't mind doing that, obviously. And that's it for the build. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoy using it more than anything, because it is a really fun build. It is a bit of a meme build. I will admit it is kind of more for the fun of it rather than actually seriously grinding out no hope difficulty. There are probably other optimal builds that could be better suited for that. However, you can run the build still on no hope difficulty and get away with it, especially in offline mode, or even with teammates that know not to step at the front of your gun. Because let's be honest, you will rinse them if they do step in front of your gun. Either way, it's completely up to you. If you want to swap any of the cards out, I would personally say Cocky is one that you can get away with swapping out, because you do have a lot of swap speed regardless, but I will leave that to you. For now though, peace out, goodbye. I hope you have a wonderful New Year's, and I will see you in 2023.